Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Girl Be Selfish podcast. I am Chanel McCord, your host of the Girl Be Selfish podcast, and I'm super excited because today we have another amazing guest, one of my sisters from another mister. Like God just somehow just found a way to unite us, and so I'm super excited for the conversation that we're gonna have today because I know it's gonna be super beneficial. I know it's gonna be a blessing to you all. Listen, as I always remind you, the Girl Be Selfish podcast was born out of the Girl Be Selfish Anthology Project. And our guest today is actually one of our authors in the Anthology Project. So I'm super excited. Listen, if you have not gotten your copy, I don't know what you're waiting for. I need you to go ahead and head to Amazon and get your copy today because it's going to bless you. If you've been struggling with self-care, your self-care journey, we're talking about self-care as it deals with health, finances, spirituality, all of it. You want to get this anthology because there's something for everybody on it. But listen, we'll get to that in a little bit. We'll get to that later. I want to go ahead and introduce my good sis, Miss Amber Boyd, to the Girl Be Selfish podcast. Welcome, sis.
Thank you for having me, sis. I'm so excited. I'm excited for you, first of all, but second of all, excited that you're bringing us along this ride with you. And yeah, thank you so much.
I'm excited. We're gonna get into a whole lot of stuff. Real quick, introduce yourself. Tell the people about you, what you do, where you're from, all of that good stuff.
Okay, so I'm Amber Boyd. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the states of California and Texas. I'm a podcast host. I have a podcast called Moments of Authenticity. I'm an author. I wrote a journal/workbook for bariatric patients.
Hold on for a second. It's not just a journal/workbook, y'all. It's a whole textbook. But go ahead, sis.
And I feel like every time I bring it up, especially with folks in our group, they be like, "Listen, you gotta say it right."
Right.
But I'm so appreciative of that because I think it reminds me of having an idea, putting it together. And that's why I was really excited about being a part of this anthology, just being able to get this information out there and discuss, like, how can we continue to better our health, better our circumstances, our well-being, because it's important. So those are like really some of the things that I focus on in my mental health practice, because I have my own mental health practice called Healing Through Authenticity. And so I'm just really excited about the possibilities of getting all of this information out there.
Yeah. You know, one thing as you're talking, one thing I want to highlight, even your practice name and your podcast name, Healing Through Authenticity, is like so powerful in so many different ways, right? When we think of healing, but then making it an authentic process, you know, healing into the real you and not the you that society and everybody is trying to put on you, I think is so powerful in and of itself. And so listen, make sure y'all subscribe to the Healing Through Authenticity podcast. Where can they subscribe, sis?
Yeah, so Moments of Authenticity is the podcast, and it is on
Moments of Authenticity. See, look at me. I'm out here just...
No, you're good. So everything is connected, but authenticity is really the key, right? Just wanting to bring it all together in the same space. But it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on Google. Amazon also has a podcast hosting site now too. So yeah, I'm a little bit of everywhere.
Okay. Awesome. I love it. Make sure y'all subscribe. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first thing I want to do, we're going to get into your chapter, but I want you to define self-care for you. What does self-care mean for Amber?
For me in particular, it really is about self. So one of the things that you've described is being selfish, and I also think of it as being self-preserving, right? So this idea of me being able to show up in all the ways that I want to show up in the world, it's going to be imperative and important that I pour into myself. What does it look like to make sure that I'm rested, that I am encouraged, that I am consuming the right things? And when I say the right things, I mean like food wise, I'm looking at my own portions. I'm looking at, what am I watching? What am I listening to? Who am I around? And so when I take the time out to really pour back into myself, that is self-care to me. Like,
Yeah.
who am I in this season? Who am I today, even?
Yeah.
Right? How do
Yeah.
I feel today?
Mm-hmm.
So checking in with myself and making sure that, if I'm feeling depleted, naming it, where, and what do I need in order to fill back up so that I can show up in the ways I want to.
Yeah, I love that. The key word that stood out for me when you said was self-preserving.
Mm-hmm.
That is like a key word right there, because I think that really does sum up the whole point and purpose of self-care. It is to be self-preserving, and we don't do that well, right? And the Girl Be Selfish podcast is all about, we're talking to the ladies, so we're going to be real specific and talking to the ladies. We don't do good in self-preservation.
No, because I think we are used to setting ourselves on fire to keep people warm. And
Honey, listen.
okay, was it a word? That's what I'm saying.
Listen, it was a whole word.
And I think that as a community, we don't do well as a whole. I think that what we have passed down, right, is like how to not take care of ourselves in a particular kind of way. Now, it doesn't take away that there are external factors, right?
Mhm.
Capitalism, racism,
Right,
sexism, misogyny,
right,
all the
right.
different things, right? All the isms. And I think that in the ways that we can be taking care of ourselves, I don't think that it is taught explicitly. So I think
Mm,
as we are all kind of coming into this work, we're noticing we're burning out faster because we care deeply about
yeah,
folks.
yeah.
And it doesn't speak to I wasn't taught in school how to take care of myself while also taking care of other people. Right?
Mhm,
That's something I've
mhm.
had to learn on my own.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm like, how do I also make sure that my clients don't feel like they have to like scramble to find it? It's like, no, no, no.
yeah.
This is your space for you to
Mhm.
care for yourself because once I leave from this, I'm
That's
going
it.
to go take care of myself.
That's it. That's it. No, no, seriously. And like you said, that generational, what we pass down is so important and pivotal. And one thing my pastor would always say that has always hit me is more is learned by what is caught than what is taught.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. Now I like the way that was put.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More is learned by what is caught than what is taught. And so what happens is us not doing what we have to do for us is teaching a generation on how to operate, because we learn more from what people do rather than what people say. Like, it would be great if we say, just listen to what I say. But you know, that whole saying parents used to say, do as I say, not as I do.
Yes.
That's a lie,
Yeah.
because I'm watching
Yeah.
you and I'm going to mimic the process. And so we have passed down, again, something my pastor would say is bad copies producing bad copies.
Ooh. Come on,
Is bad,
Pastor is giving gem.
right? But it's true though. When we think about it, when you had that, when we did cassette tapes, I know we don't do cassette tapes, but I was still of a generation who did a cassette tape, okay?
Okay.
And I would take a friend's cassette tape to go record that tape. But if the original tape was messed up, that secondary tape is going to be messed up too. And that is what's happening. We are bad copies producing more bad copies, and that becomes the generational flow of what self-care is. But if we understand this idea of self-preservation and what self-preservation looks like, right? And when I think of self-preservation sounds like by any means necessary. See, self-care seems cute, right? Oh yeah, self-care, take care of yourself. But when I think self-preservation, it's like, oh no, we got to self-preserve. We got to get this done. Like, you think about, okay, what needs to be moved around? What needs to change? Like, something got to happen when we think about it through the idea of self-preservation. So I love, love, love that you use that word specifically in describing self-care. Can you just talk a little bit about what are some of the things that you did to self-preserve?
So one of the things was, and this is what I do talk about in my chapter of the anthology, is really about I had to change my environment. I had
Mm,
to really look at, I feel like I get a lot of love in spaces, but there's also a saying like, you can't heal where the hurt has happened, right?
come on.
And sometimes it's having to remove yourself from spaces, even if they mean you well, they don't always nurture
Yeah,
well-being. in the way
Yeah.
that you need it to, right? And so one of the things that has been self-preserving for me is having moved away from like what I've known.
Mm.
Because when I was ready to make changes, homeostasis is so easy to get to,
Uh-huh. Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So
Yep.
as soon as you making 2 steps forward, the system is like, you gotta come on back here,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so whenever I was in the space of ready for change, it was like I'm met with resistance because folks are fearful of change. What does it mean?
Yeah.
How am I impacted, influenced even by that change? And so I had
Yeah.
to not to, in order to make a change and keep it sustainable, I had to leave it. And that
Yeah.
has like it was one of the most painful but necessary things that I had to do. So I had to leave the environment that I was in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that I have been able to find a different version of me as a result. I stand firmer, heads higher. Like I feel
Good.
very
I
much
love
like
it.
feel like I know who I am at this point.
I love it.
I feel like I'm still learning, and I feel like we all are,
Mm-hmm.
consistently learning what this version of ourselves needs now versus
Yeah.
former versions, and being okay with consistently shifting and pivoting. Like I might
Yeah.
not like it tomorrow, and so how
Yeah.
can I stay stagnant in that because it's
Yeah.
who I used to be, right?
Yeah. I love that. So you really you had to recreate your own safe space.
Yes.
When
Oh.
you talk about leaving environments, you had to create your own safe space because I knew the space I was in wasn't safe, even if it was just wasn't emotionally safe,
Mhm.
wasn't safe for my growth, like whatever it was. You literally had to self-preserve. You had to create your own safe space. And I think that's so important. And I hope for everybody listening that you hear that. And I want you to do an evaluation for yourself. Am I currently inhabiting spaces that are safe?
Mhm.
And what would I have to do? What do I need to do in order to create my own safe space? Because remember, and also remembering that she talked about leaving environments. Leaving environments also means leaving people,
Yes.
right? It also means leaving comfort, right? And so it's not as easy as it sounds. However, when we put that along, it's necessary so for your growth. I think about when you talk about it like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? They teach what I call the nouns: people, places, and things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Your people, your places, and your things. If you're truly going to recover and if you're truly going to overcome this addiction, you can't hang out with the same people, you can't go to the same places, and you can't do the same things.
Yeah.
So it is in general, right? Not just with those who are overcoming addiction, those who are just trying to live their best life, who are trying to self-preserve. You have to be mindful of your nouns.
Yes.
What are your people? What are your places? And what are your things? And so that's really good. So says, let's get into this chapter.
Yes.
Can you let us know what is the name of your chapter, and then just tell us about all the goodies you got in there?
So it is called Breaking the Cycle, Navigating Health Challenges and Self-Discovery. So what we've been talking about right now is really the gist of what I was hoping to encapsulate in this chapter. I really feel like I was on this journey of feeling really unhappy and unsettled where I
Mhm.
was at. How I learned or not learned how to take care of myself very much
Mhm.
was how I viewed how people were or were not taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
And in order to grow, it had to be a separation of what I've known, right?
Mhm.
Because doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is the definition of insanity, right?
Right.
And so I was like, I have to make a change for me. And it came with, right? Um, the health concern was the biggest thing. So my
Mhm.
family, we all have dealt with obesity, still dealing with obesity, high blood pressure, depression,
Mhm.
addiction, all of the diabetes. I think I said that already, but those were some of the prevalent things in my family and still are.
Yeah.
And I knew that in order for me to kind of not avoid, but to manage and navigate some of these things, I had to not be in the environment in order to do it. So I moved from California to Texas. I moved here. I had a cousin here, and one of my friends also moved here at the time. And at first, I was kind of like that petulant teenager. You know, you get out and you like, okay, I'm free. And then everything that I had known had caught up with me, right? I did get diabetes. I did get high blood pressure. I was out here freely living. I was like, okay, I'm not enclosed. I could do what I want to do. And doing what I want to do got me into some trouble.
Right.
And I realized how much I was not taking care of my well-being. And well-being is on so many different levels, right? It's financial, it's spiritual, it's environmental, it's physical, mental, and emotional, right? And you know, it's social as well.
Yeah.
So it's the biopsychosocial model of like how if this one thing is not together, it's likely that these other things are not, right? And so I really wanted to speak from a context of, in order for me to take care of my emotional, physical, I had to do something drastic. So I opted into having bariatric surgery, which I'm the first one in my immediate family to have it. And I knew that I was not interested in living with diabetes and trying to figure out neuropathy or losing limbs or things.
Right.
So I had reached up to 458 pounds. I had diabetes, high blood pressure, all the things, depression, anxiety. I was experiencing all of these things, food addiction, and I needed to do something drastic. So I kind of speak from a space of I had to leave my environment in order to get to these other pieces.
Right.
Other pieces are also in conjunction with one another, and recognizing that it is okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to say, I love you and I love me more, because I have to show up for me, right?
Yeah.
I have to show up for me. If I anticipate or expect to show up for anybody else, first I have to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah.
And so since then, right? No more diabetes, no more blood pressure medication. You know, I've lost a significant amount of weight.
And you look good, sis.
Okay. Thank you, sis. Because you saw me, and you saw me as
good, sis.
I was pushing through, but it was also like a struggle to live and thrive. I was surviving. I was existing. But now I feel like I'm living, right? And it allows for other things, like to explore and to be cognizant. I'm not saying that weight is the only factor. It was like getting my mind right, because it's not just a weight loss, it's also a mental journey as well in this. And it's an emotional one, and having to navigate these different relationships now and how they look and how they feel, how people perceive you, like all of those things play into this as well. So I wanted to take this chapter to say, it's okay if you say you need to take care of you. You have to be self-preserving in order to like not just exist, not just survive, but to thrive.
You know, one of the things I love, just, you know, and like you said, I've seen your journey, right? And when you talk about taking care of you no matter what, being willing to do the unpopular thing.
Yes.
Being willing, you know what I'm saying? Like let's talk about it. Let's be real, right? Because you, like you said, you went the journey of doing bariatric surgery, and that was your journey. There's so many people that would have so much to say about that, right? And so many opinions about it, and still do, right?
There's so much in it.
Come on, it's so much shame associated with it. But now you sit here today with no diabetes, your weight is down, you out here living your best life, you got energy, you're bright, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes in self-preserving, you have to do the drastic thing, and sometimes you have to do the unpopular thing, and knowing that it is okay. This is your journey.
Yes.
This is not anybody else's journey. And we get so caught up in the narrative of what other people have to say. Well, what are they going to think? And people going to think this and people going to think that. So what?
Yeah.
Like, so what? Because at the end of the day, they're not going to live your life. And so, if you're not willing to take those drastic steps that are going to get you the results, not just that you want, the results that you need,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because sometimes, even when I think about it, and I'm thinking as one, listen, and
Mhm.
I've shared this, I've thought about getting the surgery too, because my hormones are all over the place. I'm on this fertility journey, right? And so many people have so many things to say about it. Well, just exercise, just do this. I did that.
Yeah.
Eating like no lie. I lost 35 pounds. And then what? I turned 35 and that weight just picked all the way back up.
Right.
Okay. And my doctor, like, there's so many physical things that are going on the inside. Like, people don't know your journey. You
Yes.
don't know my fertility journey. So it's callous just to look at people and say, oh, all you got to do is this. If you would just put down a fork or whatever the case is, and how that translates into whatever your thing is, you don't know people's journey. And because I'm realizing, because I don't know people's journey, people don't know my journey. So I have to do what's best for me, because you could either still be sitting around struggling, or you could have all this weight come down. You could be off of the medication and you could be out here living your best life. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, in self-preserving, I want you all that are listening to hear, don't be afraid to do the unpopular thing or to do the drastic thing. This is your journey. So what anybody else thinks or feels about the decision that you made for your life? Here's the thing, they don't have to deal with whatever consequences that come.
And that's the other part that I'm so glad you said that, because I was just thinking about it with diabetes and things like that, right? The fact that you could lose limbs and digits and all kind of things, right? Nobody has to walk that walk with that person that's enduring that thing.
Come
So when
on.
people tell me, or like have told other people that have had this surgery, that we took the easy way out, all we just needed to do was exercise, I'm like, if it were just that easy, right? Then none of us would have any of these things that are going on. It's not a
Exactly.
just thing. And this is what I said on my last podcast episode, right? It's not a just thing or a should thing. It really comes down to, there are adjustments that have to be made, right? And some things that we're willing to do, some things we're not willing to do, and really recognizing, right, what those things are.
Yeah.
And not everybody has to like what you do.
Come
It's
on.
not about you, like your opinion. And I know that, like, my family was really fearful for me about getting the surgery, because where I had mine was in Mexico. My insurance didn't cover it. I understood their fear, but I knew that if I leaned into their fear, then I was going to stay stagnant,
Come on.
and I was barely taking care of myself. How at 30 something, I can barely turn
Come
to
on.
do the things to take care of
Come
myself.
on.
You
Come
want
on.
me to stay, you want me to not do what I need to do because it scares you?
Come on.
I
Come
love
on.
you, and right, it's
Right.
not a but, it's an and.
Right.
I love you, and I have to do something for myself here.
Come on. Come on. And in doing something for yourself, you have to choose your heart.
Yeah, you do.
Is it hard? It's hard that I could barely move to do the things I could take care of myself. And it's hard because people and their opinions about the things I'm about to do to learn to take care of myself. But which heart am I going to choose?
Right. And my heart came down to, I want to be able to wipe myself. I want to be able
Let's
to,
be real.
come
Let's
on.
be real.
I want to be able to put my shoes on and not have to, like, fold myself over to do
Come
it.
on.
Those things feel small to people who haven't ever had to deal with it.
Come
And I
on.
get it. So to you, it looks like somebody who feels disgusting, looks disgusting, you turning your nose up. And I'm like, you don't know how challenging it is to be both hyper invisible and hyper visible at the same time.
Oh my God.
You telling me that I just need to, people have been telling me I just, for a very long time, and I just did those things, and they did not give me the results that I needed sustainably. So I took a medical approach to support. I didn't go out and like do it to myself.
Right.
I had a doctor
Right.
who is medically trained
Come on.
to do this. This is not a cosmetic surgery. And even if it was, that's for me to decide.
That's
Right?
your business.
My business. So
Right.
for someone to tell me that I shouldn't
Come on.
because
Come on.
it's not up to you to decide, and your perceptions, right? They don't make my life last longer. Your perceptions, your opinions, and how you feel about what I'm doing does not give me more life. Actually, it's deflecting.
Listen, if you were here, I would throw a shoe at you right there. I would throw something at you right there. Your opinions do nothing to help me with my life.
No.
They do nothing to help me with my life at all. And then what people don't realize in the decisions, and we're specifically talking about your journey with the bariatric surgery, this surgery ain't the end all be all.
At
I can still
all.
maintain this.
It's so much work that goes into this. I'm telling you. I knew it going in, but being in it, I'm like, there are a lot of things I have to be mindful of, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that if I did it, naturally, as they say, right?
Right.
I also feel like this is natural. It's not natural, right?
Right.
That's neither here nor there. I think that folks who opted not to get surgery and have lost the weight on their own, I applaud them as well, right?
Yeah.
And I applaud anyone who stands in the face of someone and says, despite how you think or what you think about this is the decision that I've made to extend my life a little further, right?
I love it.
And it is a work on a constant daily basis. Am I getting enough water? Am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough movement? Am I taking my vitamins? Like, I got to make sure I'm not deficient.
Yeah.
There are things that I still have to be very aware of. There are places that I can't go. I was just having this conversation with some bariatric patients a few minutes ago, like before I got on here, was I can't do buffets. I can't do all you can eat. Because it's not effective for me to be in a place where I'm over consuming, knowing I have a restriction going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why I'm going back to 458 pound Amber, and we gonna have a good time. But I'm also gonna be in this bathroom with nothing in my stomach because I decided I wanted to go ham.
Exactly. Man, sis, we're gonna have to do a part 2. So many things in my head right now that just needs to be talked about, because what we're talking about the weight loss journey. We're talking about your bariatric journey. But when I think about it, it's so symbolic of so many other journeys that people are on. Yeah. Like, it's so symbolic in that I like whatever I do, the no that I give, the boundary that I set, the whatever it looks like, it is simply the jump start. Yeah. The real work is in how I'm maintaining this, right? I tell people all the time, because boundaries is like a big thing. It's like a buzzword these days or whatever. And so it's like, set your boundaries. But if you disrespect your own boundaries and you don't enforce them, you're going to find yourself right back where you were, or even worse, because now nobody's going to believe you because you said this before and you didn't follow through on it. Like, we're talking about sometimes the drastic thing is simply the jump start. Yes. It is not the end all be all. Listen, I know somebody who got, I forgot what it's called, but basically she got her body done, like fat removed from her belly and all of that, or whatever the case is. And 6 months later, gained the weight back. It is a jump start. If you just look at those things as, oh, this the end all be all, this is it, and you do nothing to change your lifestyle to maintain, you're gonna find yourself back in a worse position. And I always say worse. I think about when the Bible talks about when the demons come back, they come back 7 times stronger. And it's true. It's oftentimes, if it's not the first time that kills you from the addiction, it's the second time around that's going to get you, because when you go back into it, you're going to go back into it so much harder, right? That's usually what it is. And so when we're considering our journeys of self-care, we have to remember that this is an ongoing process. It is not a one and a done. Your chapter name is called Breaking the Cycle,
Yeah.
Navigating. If we stop right there,
Yeah.
when we talk about breaking a cycle, that's an ongoing thing, right? Cycles are ongoing. And when we talk about navigating, that means that it's a journey. And we have to remember that everything, well, we are humans and it's a journey that we are on. It's not going to be a one and done. It's not going to be an end all be all. You have to make sure that you do what you have to do for you and maintain it.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I do, like, I don't want to give too much away. I feel like I talked a lot about
You know, don't give too much away. They got to get the book.
You got to get the book, but I changed the wording for it. But what I ultimately wanted to have folks take away from this is you have to choose your choice. Like, you have to keep choosing your choice.
I like it.
So this bariatric journey is, I have to keep choosing my choice to, like, mind my restriction, to be cognizant of how, like, what my body is responding to. If that's something, not something I need to be having, I need to be aware of it so that I don't overdo it. I'm not in the bathroom, like, you know, with nothing now in my system, no sustenance, because it's a tool, right?
Yeah.
Everything, the tool is like, when you are trying to build something, right? The tool is the thing that helps you build, but it is not the only thing. It's not the hammer and the nails. It's all the things combined. So I have to be very cognizant of, no, I can't go there. No, I can't have that. And I'm trying to say that I restrict myself from having nothing, because I still eat very good. I mean, you know,
I know that's right.
And so I think it's how do I still live my life and honor like this change that I've made, and you know, that folks will make fun of the little bitty plate that I get or the little something that, do you, baby? Because at the end of the day, I'm much better off now than I was when I had that big old plate and was like just doing too much.
Yeah. You know, as I'm sitting here, as we round the corner, sis, I'm thinking about, when we think about self-care, you know, the popular thought definition is the massages and the relaxation and getting my hair done, my nails done. I'm not knocking any of that.
There's a place.
Yeah, there's a place for relaxation, and all of it is self-care. But what you're describing is, this is a self-care journey of work. And I think it's important for people to understand that sometimes self-care takes work.
Yes.
Sometimes self-care is not going to be effortless, and we want effortless so bad. But sometimes to get to a place, because here's the thing with your journey, eventually the norm will be, I'm automatically going to mind my portions. I'm automatically going to, but until I get there where this is just the lifestyle and this is just what I do, I have to put forth the effort and I have to put forth the work up front so that I can eventually build the habit, so it just becomes second nature to me. And that's the part we don't like, right? It's the, you know, I tried it one time, it didn't work. Oh, well, it's not working for me, I'm going to give up. No, you got to be in it to win it. You got to be in this thing to win this thing. And like, I just have to tell you, I commend you, because I'm watching your journey. Like, I'm watching your journey, and you've been in it to win it. Listen, we even went on vacation together. And you were in it to win it in Jamaica, okay? On vacation, okay? In an all-inclusive, all you can eat, or whatever the case is. And even in that setting and environment, I got to make sure I got to do what I got to do for me. Because most of us, I'm not gonna lie, I go on vacation, I'm like, listen, whatever happens. And like, sis, you even went to the gym. We all talking about we was going to the gym. Ain't one of us met you in the gym. Not one of those days.
No, that's not true. So Zuri did come with me to the.
Okay. I'm gonna give it to her. But I had my gym clothes. I remember one day I even put my gym clothes on, and I went to go eat, and I never made it to the gym. Okay, like, so it's a work in progress. But I've seen your commitment to your betterment. Like, and that's what I see. So even when I hear, like, again, going back to your podcast name, Moments of Authenticity, and your practice name, Healing Through Authenticity, Amber is showing up as Amber. and doing what Amber has to do for Amber. I don't, no matter what anybody likes, and it's so commendable. It's such a role model. It's such a role model to show up and do the things that you have to do for you. And so I really want to commend you on that. And I want to commend you on your transparency for being willing to talk about this, for being willing to like, man, like we definitely got to do a part two. That's all I can say, because even when I think about how taboo this is, even within the Black community, like let's go there. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna dedicate myself and I'm gonna switch gears and I'm gonna help people that are on their bariatric journeys. And you're helping to normalize something that would otherwise be seen as taboo. And I think it's so important and it's so commendable, right? So you want to talk about breaking a cycle. You're not only breaking a cycle, but you're trailblazing. You're trailblazing. And so sis, I commend you, and I am honored, to be honest, to have you as a part of this anthology. And because I know your chapter is gonna be so beneficial. I know it's gonna just change so many lives. I'm looking forward to reading it because, like I said, I'm on a journey, and I'm probably gonna be texting you on the side, as I got some things in the work. So I'm gonna text you on the side or whatever the case is. But it's inspiring for those of us, and I'm talking about me too, who are so discouraged. Who are so discouraged by this weight loss stuff, right? And I was reminded one day in talking with my pastor about it, because like everything changed. Like I picked a weight, all of a sudden no clothes fit me. I'm like, and it takes a while to transition your mind.
Yes.
It takes a while to transition your mind. So I'm still trying to fit into the 14s, and my body is like, sis, like, you know what I'm saying? And I was reminded that genes have a lot to do with this. Like there's some aspects of this that I can't even do anything about because of the cards I've been dealt in life, And so just hearing your journey and your transparency, it's helping me. And so I know it's helping somebody else. So I just want to thank you. Thank you for being a guest today on the Girl Be Selfish podcast. And I'm looking forward to your chapter. I am. I'm looking forward to reading it. Like, I cannot wait to read the goodies that's going to be in this book. And speaking of it, y'all, listen to me. Go get the book. That's it. Just go get the book. It's going to be life transforming. And we're working on some things. Like, we're not just trying to keep it as a book. Like, we're working on some things. I'm going to just let the cat out the bag. I'm going to let everybody know. We're having a Girl Be Selfish virtual women's summit in October. So we're going to dive deeper into these topics. It's going to be multiple days. It's going to be virtual. So there's no excuses to not be a part of it, first of all. You just want to be a part of it. Listen, we're going to be working on a book tour. We're trying to go different places, and we're trying to bring this message different places. So this is not a topic we're going to just drop. You are going to be hearing more from us. We're going to build a platform. We're going to build a movement around Girl Be Selfish, because it's time for us to take care of ourselves. And as my sis said, it is time for us to self-preserve. So listen, make sure you go to Amazon, Girl Be Selfish. Go ahead, get your copy of the book. It is going to be life-changing. And so, sis, let the people know, where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yes, so I'm on the social medias at Healing Through Authenticity, both on Instagram and Facebook. If you're interested in or know someone who is getting bariatric surgery and might need an extra resource, preparing for your bariatric journey, my book is available on Amazon as well. And my podcast, Moments of Authenticity, is on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. So
Awesome. Yeah. So listen, we're going to make sure that we tag all of your social media handles. We're going to make sure people know where to get your book and all of that. But again, I just want to say thank you so much for your transparent conversation. And you will most definitely be back on the podcast, because we got some more things to talk about. Okay. We got some more digging to do. But I want to thank you again. And listen, I hope that you all who are listening and watching, you found this episode to be absolutely beneficial. I know it will be life-changing. But listen, we are going to go now. We're going to wrap up now. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. And remember to stay selfish. Bye, family.
bye.